and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you're all enjoying yourself here at the Grand Finals 2016. Before we get the finals underway, we've got a nice little intermezzo for you. Give the teams a little bit of time to get ready, collect their thoughts before they do battle right here. So, what do we got in store for you? How about a game with gaming pedigree that only wargaming can provide? World of Warships. It's been exciting people, fans, and players since its announcement. And now, for the first time, we're going to have two teams made up of guys that are serious about this game. They're looking to show you how this game can be played at a high competitive level. The teams are made up across Europe and a whole-soul German team. So, without further ado, for your viewing pleasure, let's welcome these guys to the stage because they are going to play for you. First up, with a fantastic name, I have to say, and they're an all-European team, it is the Dead Admirals. Now, their opponent is a team made up of all German. And before we came in today, they were called just Team Germany. We said that won't do. They had the Jolly Roger on their chest, so we've now dubbed them the Ocean Pirates. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are playing for your attention. They are playing for your pleasure. So please, show some love, give some support. One more time, our champions. You are a fantastic audience. Okay, guys, are you ready? I think so. Let's have them shake hands. We're going to head over to the casters. Take it away.
Welcome to the World of Warships Showmatch. My name's Oliver Maxfield, and to my left is Commander Ryan Murphy. We're going to be diving into the World of Warships Showmatch soon, and just aside from all the shit puns, which I'm sure will come out a little bit more, how are you feeling about this little treat we've got on the line?
Interested. We have an all-star cast on both teams. The German team might not be familiar to a lot of people unless you are German watching this. They have an all-star cast of various different streamers and YouTubers. For the European team, as we're calling it, for the Dead Admirals, you have a multitude of very well-known Warships contributors, including, for example, Jingles, which is a huge fan favourite right now. As I understand, he'll be playing cruisers during this battle. You have IEarlGrey, you have Aerroon. On these teams, you have a lot of very, very, very skilled players, and you're going to get some amazing matches today.
Yeah, some of those guys have definitely killed me a few times in the battle, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly, what the top level of World of Warship looks like. A lot of people have been playing it, but it's still pretty early in its development. It's still only just less than a year old in terms of its release. So it's, we're going to have to see a lot of new things here, I think. Yeah,
tactically it's going to be very different from what people are used to in random battles. It's going to be more like a traditional naval battle in a way. In the kind of World War II scenarios, basically an entire fleet was built up around the protection of the carrier. The carriers were the main damage dealers of the fleet, and you basically had a circle of ships to protect the carriers. And this is effectively what we're going to be seeing here today. You're going to see two of arguably the best carrier players in Europe. You have Papiti Pupiti and the German team, and you have Strangers 123, who is one of the super testers for World of Warships. So these guys really, really know carrier play, and they really, really know what they're doing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. But let's have a little look into what the Dead Admirals had to say about this show match.
We're going to be playing in the 2016 Wargaming League Grand Finals, and I think all of us are highly excited. It's a show match, and we're looking forward to showing that World of Warships can in fact be a esports game. it's quite difficult to compare World of Tanks to World of Warships as an esports game. Mostly due to the fact that World of Warships overall is quite a lot slower and momentum carries over. Unlike a tank, you can just slam the brakes, put the thing in reverse, and all of a sudden you're back in cover. A warship would take over a minute to stop and start reversing. Not to mention that these 16-inch, 41-centimeter guns take 30 seconds to reload. In World of Warships, it is a game of initiative and momentum, and quite a lot of the games we have noticed that a game would just snowball. It's quite rare, equally in World of Tanks, to see a very, very close match, where it's often 1 versus 1 at the end. And each individual player's skill, their play and decision, their vessel would play an important role. A lot of the times, the snowball effect of losing a ship early and therefore losing the points or the map control could be devastating to a team's performance in the late game. We enjoy World of Warships as an esports game because it's a very tactical and strategic game. The decisions and play overall of the team matters quite a lot more than perhaps the individual player skill and their individual decisions during a battle. Damn right, we are gonna win the World of Warships show match.
Very interesting insight into World of Warships there from the Admirals, the European team, of course. Talking about some of the aspects of the game, I find it's, yeah, as I said, it's very hard to reverse from an awkward situation. World of Tanks is pretty hard already, but World of Warship, when you have hundreds of thousands of tons of steel just driving through, quite viscous material, it does take a long time to stop.
Yeah, it's definitely, with the warships, the action's a lot more slower paced, but what they're saying is a lot more tactical. You have a lot more time to actually think about what you're doing, and sometimes when you're committed, you're fully committed. There's no turning around and getting back out of a situation. If you're turning, you're bringing your whole broadside available to the enemy ships. They've got a bigger target to hit. So there's a lot of probing, usually from things like destroyers or carriers using their planes to try and spot out the enemy fleet. And then that's usually when people will make the commitments. You'll have the destroyers with smoke screens as well, which can be used offensively, fire out torpedoes, or defensively to drop the smoke and then get the heck out of there.
Yeah, some really in-depth tactics I find you can use in World of Warships. But of course they have to have a competitor, the Dead Admirals, and it's the Ocean Pirates.
Yeah, we feel very happy and very proud to be here because it's a very big thing for us to play this show match for World of Warships on the main stage. So we're happy to fight against the European team with Jingles, IEarlGrey and the other dudes. The new team match mode is very good to play with structured teams against each other because it's no public gaming. So 7 guys, they know each other, they have their own strategies and they can fight against each other. So I think it's a very good thing. The main difference between World of Tanks and World of Warships is in World of Tanks you have the chance to turn or to carry a match with 1 or 2 tanks. In World of Warships I think it's more, you need more team play, so you only can stand and fight together to win. The best thing for me, it's with the destroyer because they are fast. You can play very aggressive, and that's my personal playstyle. But some other guys like the BBs, so it's for everybody have his own section. Yeah, we're looking forward to new tournament modes for World of Warships because we think it will be a great thing in the future. We will show you what is our key to win in the show match, so I don't tell you now.
Very interesting insight there from the Ocean Pirates. And yeah, they were talking a little bit about the kind of competitive development that's going on in World of Warships. Of course, it's a very competitive game. It's player versus player. How do you think that's developing right now? They seem to be very enthusiastic. I mean, team battles are great, ranked battles are great. So How do you think that's going to progress?
The community is certainly enjoying it. It's something they've been asking for quite a while, and they're taking to it really strongly, and they're enjoying seeing how the different ships adapt into the different roles, and it's completely different from the randoms, and it's exactly what players are really getting their teeth stuck into.
Yeah, I really like the kind of separation. I mean, random battle's great for kind of grinding your ships and whatever, but when you want that skilled matchmaking, you want to be playing against the other top teams, I think ranked battles are definitely where you want to be heading. So we're almost ready to get underway. I mean, these teams were put together relatively recently. Of course, the players know each other very well. They've been playing this game since alpha or beta, the very latest. Who's your team to go forwards? Who would you put your money on?
I'm going to go with the Dead Admirals, because I'm a good friend of many of these guys. I work with them very, very closely. You have Izolate, Crysantos, Aerroon, IEarlGrey, Jingles, Pointyhairedjedi. So these are guys that I know from a very long time, and I'm really hoping they do it. Although Mutality himself, he has a great team behind him as well. So basically, as this battle starts off, you're going to see the carriers engage each other. Carriers are not going to let the other carrier have any room to breathe.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. I mean, we often see the carriers or the better carry players in the matches just going up against each other. They want to cancel out because they know once they've taken out that other carrier, they can move on to some of the more close quarter combat ships, your destroyers, your cruisers, battleships, also very easy targets for the carriers once they've actually dealt with the other one. So is that what we're going to be looking at this early stage?
Definitely. You're going to try and have the carriers trying to feel out where the other carriers are. So they're going to be sending their planes out, trying to get a rough idea where the enemy carriers are and take them out. They absolutely cannot just ignore the carrier and set off for trying to do damage for other ships. What you're also going to more likely see is the carriers are each going to probably have a dedicated cruiser sitting with them, babysitting them basically for anti-aircraft cover. Anything to kind of thin down the enemy planes, because the longer the carrier's up in your team, the more damage. These guys are mainly the big damage dealers, and losing carriers early on is a huge blow for any team.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the most important point here. And then we'll probably be looking at more the destroyers, the cruisers to get into the battle. Of course, with this format, there's only 2 battleships allowed at 1 CV, so we don't have too many battleships in the fight. You can actually see a pretty aggressive start here from both teams, just heading straight into the middle towards that A cap point. And of course, the destroyers going in first. They're going to be trying to put down some early fire with the torpedoes. Obviously, we're playing tier 8, so the torp range is going to be fairly limited. We have no Shimikaze kind of range where you're shooting 15 kilometers away. But I mean, for me, I think the destroyer is also a very important part. You can see actually good scouts coming out at the beginning from the bombers.
The benefit of the planes coming as well when they're flying over to their targets is they give vision for the rest of the team for where everyone else is in enemy fleet. And you were saying earlier on about CV, not a lot of people know that the different classes of ships have abbreviations. So destroyers are abbreviated down as DDs, battleships down as, I've completely forgot right now, BBs, cruisers down as CLs, and carriers down as CVs. So if you hear that term, that's referring to the specific class of vehicle, or ship, sorry.
Exactly, you just make it a little bit more succinct. But some good AA fire coming onto the bombers that are going in at the moment. Obviously the bombs, I mean, the most important thing is not just getting that direct hit. I mean, they don't do that much damage to the actual bombs. It's more about the fires, because you can only you can set ships on fire, you can take them down, it takes down the modules, it causes all sorts of issues. But I think, I mean, who apart from, of course, the CVs, the carriers, what's the most important point after that? I mean, what are the battleships? What are the cruisers and the DDs doing at the beginning?
Basically, the way it works is you're kind of sending out your battleships in the front. Your battleships are your punching bags. They have an ability, a repair ability, which actually gives them health back. The cruisers will have an ability. They can either do sonar to help them find things like destroyer torpedoes, and the destroyers themselves, they're basically their ability, if you like, is a smoke screen that they can drop that's on a timer. So the battleships, they kind of are the ones that are on the front line to draw in the focus fire, and the cruisers are there in the background to give additional fire support. So there's torpedoes out already, coming straight in. Taking 2. You get a torpedo warning when there's torpedoes close to you, but generally if you're reacting by the time you get the torpedo warning,
it's too late.
You need to be watching the planes on the map and reacting to the planes coming at you.
Yeah, some good early damage there. The Admirals actually probably pulling out a slight lead here. You can see the Tirpitz has actually been set on fire. Of course, that big German bruiser, probably one of the strongest vehicles, one of the strongest ships in the game, even at just tier 8. It's incredibly durable.
Yeah, it's a great ship. It's a legendary ship in history as well. So you've got the Mikhail Kutuzov is this thing here. This Benson is a destroyer, is one of the fastest destroyers out there. IEarlGrey streams almost daily. He's very, very well known for his destroyer play. No, it's EarlGrey. Sorry, he's used to his Twitch name IEarlGrey. So now he's just EarlGrey. He's a good tea fanatic.
Good tea fanatic.
Yeah.
No Iron Brew here. I'd like to see that as a name.
So you can see what will happen is usually the cruisers will be shooting lots of HE shells. HE shells will cause fires. You have repair abilities, which you'll see on the ship, so they can put the fires out. The whole time a fire's on you is basically like a dot. It's constantly tricking damage of you. Battleships can usually, a lot of battleships won't cancel a single fire. They'll just let the fire burn and not use the consumable. Because you can also get things like your gun turret's damaged and you want your gun turrets back up and fighting.
Yeah, the problem with fire as well, though, for battleships is that fire takes a percentage of the HP of the vehicle. So, of course, the high HP your vehicle has, your ship has, the more damage fire will do. And this ship is going very low. The battleship could be the first blood here.
Jingles sitting back here in the Crysantos. He's just pummeling shot after shot with the HE shells coming in here against the Ocean Pirates. Aerroon's the one here in the turrets. He's under fire from torpedoes. He's under fire from guns. He's probably going to be the first casualty of the battle. And indeed he is. He's the first one down.
Yeah, some good first kill there. So we can see the Ocean Pirates now have a bit of an advantage. They can go forwards and press that. Now, is the most important thing for them just to keep the pressure on, or is it to just say, okay, we're going to reset the fight here, we're going to try and be a little bit more tactical, or do they need to keep the pressure on?
They kind of need to keep the pressure on. The danger you have is the destroyers are going to want to come in and pop off to get their torpedoes off, but I mean, Warships works more or less in a rock, paper, scissors type scenario. It's not every situation is always a hard counter, but for the majority of situations, your cruisers are going to go after your DDs. So your cruisers want to get rid of the destroyers. Cruisers will pretty much always outgun a destroyer, take it down. Destroyers can take on anyone, but they need to get close to be able to do that. The battleships, they can pretty much brawl with anyone as well, but the battleships have to be careful that they're not too close to destroyers, or they're going to get hit with torpedoes. An absolute wall of torpedoes coming in here against Pointyhairedjedi. He does a very good job of avoiding half of them, sailing in, but he's down to almost half health in his destroyer there. Sorry, his battleship. More and more shots, more and more chaos. Torpedoes come in. That's a very bold move, trying to torpedo a destroyer there with the torpedo bombers there. Not always an easy move to do. You can generally only do that if the destroyer captain is not paying attention to the planes.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. I often see when I play, like, a CV can just annihilate a destroyer if he doesn't be careful. Very predictable route around an island, gets destroyed, but these torpedoes really starting to ham in.
It's going to be all three. It's going to be a massive amount of damage coming in. This might actually break him.
Almost takes him out, and there's actually a BB right next to him, but he's actually let over that torpedoes right into the side of it. I think he'll be actually get the kill beforehand. The BB's on fire and gets taken down any second now. It's going to be a kill. The turrets does fall.
And this is it. Basically, you have both carriers are still up right now, so the carrier players haven't necessarily been going for each other, being like, okay, like, you're going to sit back, I'm going to sit back, we're just going to go for your fleet, I'm going to go for your fleet. So right now it's trade for trade. It's in favour really of Ocean Pirates. They're down their battleship. They've got the extra cruiser advantage, and there's torpedoes everywhere now. There's so many ships close to each other. Some of these cruisers have torpedoes as well. So it's a very dangerous situation for any ship to be, because there's so many torpedoes coming in from every angle.
Yeah, there's only so much you can basically dodge. If you get a good crossfire situation with torps, it's going to be basically game over for your vehicle. And yeah, I mean, both turrets gone down. I think that's predictable, as you mentioned. The fact that the CVs didn't go for each other at the beginning does lend that the battleships will fall down first. Nice little cover here with the smoke screen as well.
Yeah, the smoke screen can be really useful if you drop it in the right place. It's a very good defensive thing. Maps like this one, you usually find, I mean, what's happening right now is both fleets are really engaging in the open water. So the destroyers are not able to make use of the cover of the islands. A lot of times you get destroyers poking in and out of islands, which are really horrible, because when you have the gaps in the islands, that's when you usually have a torpedo barrage and come out the smoke, because the smoke hides the torpedoes as well. Yep. So sometimes you'll sail into the smoke thinking that you're safe, and you'll go sail into a wall of torpedoes not knowing that there's maybe two destroyers sitting there waiting on you. Yeah,
and obviously if you don't get that sonar, you're going to be very late to the party at the end of this. Torps will just take you out very easily. I'm really liking how the Ocean Pirates are actually bringing this to Team Germany. The Dead Admirals. They're really starting to put the pressure on. Okay, I think Mortality's a little bit too far out. I think that Targo, Blood Legend, needs to get in there and trying to put a bit more pressure on. But I mean, that's the thing. EarlGrey, the Benson. I mean, the Benson is one of those ships which not only has good torps, it can also get in there with the firepower, with the guns.
It's got good guns, but excuse me. It's got good guns, but it's only when it's able to do that without somebody looking his way, basically. So you can see that these shots, these barrages coming in, whoever's shooting at him has to then break off straight away because there's torpedoes coming his way.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting move. You can see there on the minimap the cap has started. Nice little hit there with the torps from the CV.
Yeah, Mutality taking a bunch of torpedoes down. He's probably got flooding damage and he's probably going to sink right now unless he's been able to repair that. He's right on the edge of his life.
Yeah, he's got to be careful he doesn't go down. And to be honest, I mean, that focus fire is going to have to start at these kind of ranges. Brawl, everyone's going to be able to shoot anyone. Indeed, he does fall. You can see at the top of your screens there, they are significantly ahead right now.
The Jingles is down, sadly, down to Mutality. But that means Mutality himself doesn't have much HP left. You could see the team was wanting to focus the fire onto him. It's still 4 ships in each team, but the health pool advantage is with the Ocean Pirates.
Yeah, they're pretty far ahead, I have to say it. CV's also getting a little bit too close to the battle. You can see they're starting to accumulate here. You got two CLs and you got a DD as well starting to head in. Some torps starting to cross, and a single target far ahead is an easy target to take down.
Yeah, and another thing that's important to know in this map is in this map you have 2 bases. So right now the dead Admirals have been holding on to base B for a very long time, which has built them up 843 points. They're still holding it, so the entire time the battle's going on, it's tripping up points, So basically what the Ocean Pirates have to do right now is they realistically need to start going for the kill and going for damage, because the dead Admirals can just kind of pull back, use the points to their advantage. This great bunch of shots coming in here might actually just clip them, just missing him. So it's in their favour. They just captured A, which was close. They didn't actually have A, but right now this is the focus. They want to take him down, get more points on their side, or they end up losing end up the match on points.
Yeah, I think that the CL, that cruiser, just went in to try and stop that cap from occurring, and actually it did happen anyway. And also at the same time, it's basically a few more shells will actually connect and go down. I mean, a fire will take it out. A good AP penetration will also take it out. So it's just having to scamper with its tail between its legs and see if it can avoid anymore. We've got smoke screen up as well. Yeah, it's just like an unstoppable wall, I feel.
Yeah, just at the moment, they're basically just trying to run the clock down. And once it hits 1,000, that's them got the win. And it shows the importance of these ones. A lot of the time when you're playing games like this, people get focused on no cap, kill all mentality that you sometimes get from World of Tanks. You can't do that in World of Warships. If you have the matches where you have a base, you need to fight around the bases. You can't fight away from the bases, because if the team's sitting on the bases and they have them, as you can just see there, they cap over 1,000 points and they win.
Yeah, easy as that. And will be the dead Admirals to pick up the first win here. Pretty convincingly. I felt like Team Germany was a little bit too aggressive at the beginning. We said at the beginning as well, like, okay, these 2 CVs are actually going to go in, they're going to shoot each other, going to try and take each other down. But I mean, it was the DD. The Benson just went in, did a lot of damage. We saw it actually probably did a couple of torpedoes hits. It took some anti-aircraft. It was a solid round from him.
You can see there strangers in the Shokaku. You had, let's see, the enemy carrier going for him. He had 14 planes down, so he was able to defend his ship very, very well. Took down a lot of enemy planes coming his way, which helped give him air superiority. And air superiority is really, really vital in these types of games, because you only have one carrier. As I say, you're usually in these tactics going to have a cruiser running protection for the carriers. So each carrier generally has a pocket cruiser just there to provide AA cover for him, to give that carrier dominance to save off the first wave of enemy fighters coming on, so he can then commit his planes to the enemy carrier.
It's definitely something which you don't necessarily consider when you're playing a cruiser. As you said, most people just want to go in for the kills. But anyway, we've got the first round out, so best of 3 done and dusted. But we've got some cool goodies and giveaways, some bonus codes for you as well. If you want to check it out, you can go on facebook.com/World of Tanks, and you can see instructions of how to get that underway there. I mean, World of Warships, everyone's loving it right now. It's a pretty damn popular game. A lot of people are playing it in all regions. This year it's getting more popular. I was playing Alpha. I got Alpha. I played quite a bit, but it was still, not enough people. I got Aerroon in beta, and I got the Zao in the main. That's my kind of transition through World of Warships. But what's the next cool things? What's on the horizon for World of Warships?
What you can talk this in advance, and there's a lot I know about, but I didn't get the go-ahead, so I have to be very very restrictive in what I can say, because I don't necessarily know what I can and can't say. There is lots of really, really cool stuff coming up for Warships, things that are going to make the gameplay more, what would be the word? I can't remember now. It's going to, I can't remember, immersion. There you go, immersion. It's going to make the game more immersive. There we go. So it's definitely going to add more atmosphere, if you like.
It's already
to the game.
pretty atmospheric. I mean, the effect the guns have on the water, the sound system obviously sounds pretty similar to World of Tanks now. I mean, obviously World of Tanks came after with the good sound system. World of Warships had it first. And that was actually one of the things I noticed from alpha through to the release, was the immersion was a lot more. Like, there was one patch which just changed the game completely in that respect. We
had a lot of it's been a long time in internal testing and in player testing as well, when the community feedback is really strong in Warships. There's a lot of we take a lot of what the players give to us, and we're like, right, okay, we can see where they're coming from that. There's also a lot of stuff that we're thinking about already, that when we can then say to players, like for example, there's a lot of new ships coming this year Navy. That I can't really talk about.
I want the Royal Navy, man. That's all I'm saying.
I'm desperate to play the Royal Navy myself. So you have new maps potentially going to come as well and stuff like that. So it's certainly going to be a really cool year for Warships, and I think that a lot of the Warships players are going to be really excited to see the new content we have lined up for them.
Yeah, I can't wait to check it out. And I think it's an exciting year for World of Warships over anything. I mean, as the game is new, the earlier development's always great. But anyway, we can focus on this second round here over the best of three. So the Dead Admirals only have to put one more round on the board, and they will be starting. They'll walk away with a Showmatch win, the first competitive offline environment for the World of Warships game. It would be a truly fantastic achievement, something that goes down in history. What do you think Team Germany has to do to try and counter that? What do they have to change from their previous round?
Well, in this one, compared to the previous round, this is a 3 base map compared to when it was a 2 base map. Yep. Now, on a 3 base map, your general tactic is you only want to hold 2. It's like any other traditional game that has 3 bases, basically. You want to hold 2, you don't want to take 3. Trying to take all 3 is just splitting too much. You hold 2, you make sure that one is absolutely defended, and you kind of bait them into the other one, and you fight over the second one the entire time, building up points on the one you've made safe. So for this one, you're likely to see Dead Admirals going for, it looks like both of them are going to try and go for A straight away, and you're going to get some in C. This map really favours destroyers. There's lots of islands that destroyers can use to protect themselves
especially that B
from
point,
the fire. So it's going to be real interesting. Destroyer play. There's going to be lots of torpedo ambushes, lots of people staying in, like slowing down as they're approaching islands, then going up to full speed. The ships, you have to be careful as well when you're doing this, because if you're trying to slow down in front of an island, if you hit the speed wrong, even if you hit max reverse, the ship drifts past the island, even and then it goes in reverse. Yep.
I mean, DD maybe has like 15,000 horsepower. Yeah. It's not that heavy, but still takes a while to stop. I find like when I play this map on ranked, like you go for A. You put it like this. You send your DD one way, and then you might fake with the rest of your ships the other way. You get that cap underway. You try and capture it. So there's a bit of a mind game at the beginning. Of course, World of Warships, you're not going particularly quickly. So you do have that ability at the beginning to make those decisions and to try and tactically outsmart your opponents.
You can see some of these planes are getting absolutely wrecked in the middle just now. So the AA fire that comes from ships is automated. It's not necessarily aimed. You can click onto a squadron above you, and your ship will focus fire on those squadrons, but you're not aiming manually like you would do with the big guns, the ship-to-ship guns. So the AA works kind of like a dot damage that you would get in other traditional MMOs. It just does a consistent damage over time until the plane leaves the area of the AA radius, basically.
Imagine having to aim all the secondary guns on like the Yamato or something.
So many people request that. The trick with, Yamato's a tier 10 Japanese battleship. So the trick to dealing with the Yamato is, if you're a carrier player, is you come at it from the front or back, not from the sides, because all its guns are angled at the sides. It's its main focus area.
Yeah, you just go straight at it with a DD as well.
It's a crazy mode itself.
Just go straight forward.
That's the thing. DD players, a lot of players love and hate DD players. They have a very high skill cap, realistically, because
the highest in the game, I think.
They have a very, very weak armor. They die very, very easily, but they're capable of like tremendous damage. But it's very, very high risk. You have to get in close. Carrier players as well. Carriers themselves. A lot of players are like, carriers are OP, but carriers are actually quite difficult to play. It's not like with the way people look at artillery, for example, in World of Tanks, where people can argue that you play artillery one-handed. You can't. I mean, carrier players, you have to know how to aim. You have to be able to predict the leading the shots and stuff like that. And it's certainly not as simple as people think it is.
It's a mini RTS game in World of Warships, basically. And I find for me, I mean, DDs are the most fun class to play. I think cruisers somewhere in between. Of course, battleships, you're talking about 20 kilometers, shooting big 20-centimeter guns.
Yep.
So it was really what floats your boat.
Hey.
I didn't prepare for that one at all. Totally unintended.
So I mean, myself personally, I prefer battleships and I prefer destroyers. I very rarely play cruisers. I like the totally different gameplay. So you can see the R being pressed repeatedly there to get the repair kit. To actually, what that does is it extinguishes any fires or any flooding damage that your ship may have.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to basically stay alive for as long as possible, and you got a bit of leeway. Of course, the best thing, as you mentioned about battleships, is that you can just get your health back up. It's insane. I mean, a lot of people blow that feature early on, and that piece of equipment. Is that a good thing? I mean, when should you realistically use that to the best effect?
Generally, it depends how much fire you're coming under. Like I says, if you're a battleship player and you just have one fire, you're probably going to, depending on your captain skills and, like, for example, the flags you have, like the flags that you see on the ships here, they're not just visual. They actually have effects. They have different effects that actually work on your ship. So some of them will reduce the time that your ship is on fire for. It will speed up your repair crew or something like that. It will give you, for example, extra credits after battle. It will make you invulnerable to one-shots, because ammo racks happen in these. The ships have what's known as citadels. So that's when you break through the armor level and get into like the core elements of the ship. And citadels are, as they're commonly known in the community, as critadels. Some ships are really, really good at getting critadels, especially battleships if they're AP shells. AP shells generally rip through armor. HE shells generally splash on armor and will cause fires and go against softer targets. So battleships almost always are trading AP against other battleships.
Yeah, of course they've got to be careful against cruisers and DDs and CVs as well, because you might get over penetration. That's where you'll see some of the lower damage against those lighter vehicles, lighter ships. But who do you reckon's got the advantage now? I mean, okay, you've got
Dead Admirals again. Have got
Dead Admirals. They've got A. They've got C even. They've got control of the cap. They're starting to get some. They've got a good distribution. 3 ships to the right, 2 to the left. They got good control.
Yep.
DD just playing around in the middle, just putting some pressure on, potentially go for that B cap.
Yep. So you've got them. They're sweeping in from C because they know C is secure. There's nobody sneaking through in the middle to B to worry about B. So they're sending a destroyer into B. He's probably going to start a sneak cap on B, and then you're going to have this battleship and this cruiser sweep down to the south side, supported by, it looks like the carrier planes are right on top of the carrier, and it looks like he's actually sunk now. So it looks like that. Yep, the Ocean Pirates have lost their carrier now.
Oh.
So that's great from Strangers 123. He really, really is a tremendous carrier player. So Commander 444 it is we've lost. So this is another. I
saw he went low pretty early on.
Yeah, I mean you could see on the map the torpedo planes were right on top of him. So the earlier on it was showing Pointyhairedjedi. So he's playing in the Turpits. The Turpits is a battleship, and this has torpedoes as well, and it's a really, so many people underestimate the torpedoes or don't even realize it has torpedoes. They go in close to trade with it, and then bam, they're hit with a volley of 4 torpedoes. There's some citadels coming in there.
6 kilometer range though. I mean, you have to get pretty close.
Oh, definitely, but most people want to get in close to trade with the battleship, because usually the battleships, sometimes they're aiming, they can misjudge the shells coming in, and if you're something like a destroyer, you think you're coming in, or a cruiser, you think you're going in for the killing blow, and then suddenly you've got wall torpedoes. You can also sail in between 2 lines of ships as well and fire out a bank of torpedoes either side.
So we got the Dead Admirals. I mean, the one problem for them is that they've lost their CV, and you've got Team Germany who've got...
They're down a cruiser and they're down a carrier now as well.
Yeah, they've lost a cruiser recently, so going too good for them, and it's the best of 3. They've only lose one more, then he'll go down. Good control in the middle.
Yeah, there's, like I said, you had the destroyer's going to go in and take B. So now they've got all 3 points. Right now, the only way for the Ocean Pirates to get points on the map is to kill ships. The points are going to start stacking up really quickly now for the dead admirals. We're in game now, in face with Jingles looking super serious there, almost the tongue and you know, as he's concentrating super hard.
He's an old Navy man, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Here we can see the Cloud. Yep. So he's in turrets. He's got 2 fires on him, which as you can see, just slowly taking damage from him. Just chips away, and having multiple fires is so frustrating as a battleship player. You're just sitting there and damage is coming away.
He's dead. I mean, he's going to go down at some point in time. It doesn't matter if more hit. At some point, he's going to be falling. And that's going to put the dead admirals even further away. That'll be a CV, a cruiser, and a battleship down.
Yep. An interesting thing as well with warships is, unlike in World of Tanks, you can kill people after you've died yourself. You can kill even 2 people after you've died yourself. Yeah. So there's multiple times where, like, you're like, okay, you've got me, and you get your torpedoes off, and you're like, well, it's worth it. You know, like, you'll die, and then you know your torpedoes are going to sail in and kill someone, or perhaps you've set someone on fire, and then you die, and then, like, maybe 2 minutes later, boom, you get the notification that you got the kill.
Yeah, from the grave, that's what it's like.
Jingles is an arsonist now, so Jingles is going absolutely crazy with the
what happens when you kill someone with fire.
Yeah. Basically that's like a huge amount of damage he's taken with HE damage. 2 great torpedoes there coming out. Mutality's going to take, looks like 1, he's going to miss the front one, but yeah. And you can see that's just putting additional pressure on him. EarlGrey's coming out, looks like you think he's going to want to sail at him, going to probably feel confident and say, like, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for a torpedo run. This is a hero moment from him. He's like, I want to get in close. Generally, you want to close to about 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers maybe.
Yeah.
But the Attigo itself has torpedoes as well. You'll probably see a defensive torpedo stream come out from the Attigo.
Yeah, this doesn't even happen.
You can't, I mean,
Vitality takes down EarlGrey.
Yeah, that's the thing with destroyers. It's really easy to be overconfident in the destroyer. And like a cruiser against destroyer, that's exactly what cruisers are there for. These are dive bombers coming down onto Mutality. Not much time to react. Fantastic shooting again.
Great stuff. Sets him on fire. 2 fires on that. Probably took down a whole load of AE guns, secondary guns. And I think he's probably already blown his repairs, so
he's going to burn. I mean, that's the thing that dive bombers are so good at. You send in the torpedo bombers you actually want to either hit or try and force someone to move. If you want to try and herd them into a certain direction, dive bombers will usually come in to either finish off a low target or to do something simple like hit somebody so that they then use the repair crew. So then you can hit them again, like maybe a cruiser will send in a broadside.
Or blow their anti-A too early, and then you send the torps on, you get better accuracy, and you have all that kind of problem as well. It's definitely... There's a lot of nuances to the game which perhaps you don't see at first glance, but you can see actually... I
mean, Strangers there's untouched. You know,
Ocean Pirates actually got back at least 1 point. They're starting to go for B as well.
Okay, yeah, so they've pushed them back off the points. They're starting to come in on the points because they realised they needed to do something to get points on the board. The thing is they've only got 2 ships left. So what you'll start to see from the dead admirals is they'll basically pick one of these 2 guys and say, right, this is who we're going for. You have Pointyhairedjedi coming in these turrets almost at full health. That is not what you want coming in against you, you know?
No, I mean, maybe if he was against 2 pretty healthy DDs, it would be a problem, but he's got support, he's still got Stevie, it's all good for them, you know, they're laughing. So what's the next kind of thing the dead admirals have to do? What's the tactic? I mean, they're obviously massively ahead, they've got the cap.
Just now there's no
got the kills.
There's no real need for them to have to worry about the cap. This is going to be a no cap kill all situation. They know exactly where the enemy ships are. Widespread, when you shoot from a carrier player, or in torpedoes in general, you can go for a narrow spread or a wide spread. In this situation, they had to go being such a wide ship. I mean, you've got this wall of torpedoes. He's
done.
This is, if it's not going to hit him, it might hit his teammate behind him. But the torpedoes might drop range, you know. This is the danger. Izolate, another great player with destroyers. He streams regularly as well during the day, and he loves his torpedoes as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's very effective. I mean, torps are probably one of the hardest things to hit. A lot of people complain, oh, I got torped. Didn't even have to hit him.
Even get
took
him
down. And he, you know, the thing is, he was having to turn a little bit broadside to that. I think there's a cruiser over there.
Yeah. So as I was saying, the torpedoes might just carry on though and get the ship behind them, which they weren't necessarily aiming for. A great bunch of torpedoes from Mutality. Oh, he doesn't even get a chance to hit them out. So another great play by the dead admirals.
At 2-0
And
from
that's
them.
a 2-0. So yeah.
2 very convincing rounds. I mean, they were ahead in terms of cap points. They also got the kills. They were being aggressive. You could see they were more... I mean, the CV, obviously, the difference between that round and the previous one was that the CV went down pretty early on in the piece.
So I know from speaking to these guys before they came here that they were putting in the hours and the practice of them. Isolating the bench in there is like, he's done a great amount of damage. Five planes down from him. The Shokaku with 10 down.
He's been top in 2 rounds.
Yeah, so as I said, Strangers is a exceptional carrier player. If you're playing World of Warships and you see Strangers 1, 2, 3 an enemy team playing carriers, good luck. Like,
he's not going to be a stranger for long.
No, he's going to get very friendly with you very quickly, and the damage that he's able to put out is absolutely insane. So you can see these guys are a bit, maybe like sad faces, you know. They may be looking to do a bit of a better showing, but these guys, may look at them like stone face killers. Like, that's
like,
IEarlGrey there. IEarlGrey there's looking like, yeah, you what, mate? You know, like, you know.
I mean, to be honest, I think you
can see how ecstatic they are of both 2 wins here. These guys, like, you know, riding high. I've probably never been in such a happier situation right now.
They certainly look confident. I mean, we got a 3rd round coming up. It was a best of 3, but
best of 3, okay.
Since it was such a two very quick first rounds, we thought we'd just give you an extra World of Warships round. You know, a nice little treat to keep you guys happy. But yeah, I feel like I think the Ocean Pirates should now have a chance of getting back to the game. Okay, fair enough. The first 2 rounds weren't particularly one-sided, but there were some moments where we thought we saw some fighting spirit, especially in that 3rd round, in that 2nd round, when they were actually going for the caps. They realized that, you know, okay, maybe the DDs have to actually go on the side. I mean, is it really going to be about that CV game again at the beginning?
It is really strong when you're playing the ranked modes like this. It's very, very. It's almost like in to link it to something relatable in World of Tanks. It would be like ignoring somebody who's spotting you. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You need to deal with the spot. You need to get him out of the way and allow your team to. Yeah. So you need to deal with that, and because the problem is that once the enemy carrier is out of the battle, your carrier then has free reign to pick his targets, and a good carrier player will absolutely tear through a team. Like, he's gonna basically talk to his teammates and say, push him this way, push him that way. Like, fire off torpedoes that you don't even really have an intention of trying to sink someone, so the carrier player can then fire torpedoes off from another angle and sandwich him. It's a really, like I say, it's not like what people would expect to see on a random battle game. It's very, very more focused. The roles of the ships become more important, and it's very, like I say, it's very traditional in those senses as well. You can't just YOLO it and think that you're going to carry the team. Basically, you need to be working as a unit, and you also need to be especially working across the points. You can't. What tends to happen too many times is teams push up to the bases and just fight in front of the bases, but the team that they're fighting has the base, so they don't push them off it. Yeah. So they'll trade shots all the time. They'll be like, hey, like, we're trading health, blah, 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 blah.
Or it might even be winning, but the base is still there.
And then suddenly they'll look at the point counter and they'll be like, wait a minute, they're 700 and we've got 200.
I feel like that's what happened a few times there. I mean, they were trading in front of the bases, and then there was a CL there, a cruiser trying to get in there. Didn't really go for it. And at the end of the day, it not only did he get the base back, but it also went down. So you've got to make that decision. I feel like you just have to go for that decision. In the end.
And maps like that one where there's 3 maps, if you're in something like a destroyer and you know you don't have somebody on your flank, it's not contested, sneak in, go in, take the point, then come back in and help your fleet. If the fleet is doing well on its own, if they can say, like, we've got it, take the point, then you go back in, that's points on the board. And there's so many matches that come down, like, even in random battles, there's so many matches that come down to, like, 1 or 2 seconds, or like you have somebody who'll cap, and there'll actually be a flight of shots in the air ready. Like, they're guaranteed to kill him, but they've got the points. They've ran the counter out before the shots have landed, and a team's won that way.
Yeah, we've got the 3rd round coming up for you. Big stack of Itagos from the dead Admirals. Obviously, that American cruiser, it's a lot more fast-firing, a lot more guns. Doesn't do quite as much damage like your Miyoko or whatever, but what's the theory behind that ship?
The Attico is another DPS machine. I believe it's a Japanese premium. So it's a cruiser which has really good guns. Or so even a battleship, I can't see it. It's a cruiser, because we only have 2 battleships.
Cruiser, yeah.
So it's got a good torpedo armament on it as well, which a lot of people underestimate as well. So it's just one of these ships that at this level, basically, it's a good jack of all trades, basically.
Yeah, it's really annoying to fight. I always find I get set on fire with it. Yeah, it's Japanese, of course.
The danger, though, is like we only have 2 battleships, and I mean both teams are going for 2 battleships, all cruisers. The battleships tear through cruisers. If battleships are going with loading AP and shooting at the cruisers, they're likely going to get citadels. And it's very easy, like in certain situations, it's very common for a battleship to basically take out a cruiser in 3 volleys. If the battleship gets its aiming right and gets right into those citadels, you can even do it in 2 volleys. And I've seen battleships take down equal tier cruisers in 1 volley with like all shots just hitting perfectly. Sometimes you have a bit of Aerroon Jesus on your side, but in warships, it's not as the difference is not necessarily as high as in World of Tanks. If you're good at your shots in warships, you will do consistent damage in something like a battleship.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Battleships are always good at countering cruisers. They always have been. That's what they're for.
It's effectively their strength.
I mean,
That's the thing.
cruisers they've always been designed to support carriers. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, I mean, cruisers can do well. They can fulfill both roles. Some cruisers can fulfill both roles, where they can. You see them either. I mean, generally at the start of matches, everyone kind of goes for their equal class. Cruisers will trade off against cruisers. Battleships will trade off against battleships because they've got the AP shells to get through the armor. Yeah. Destroyers usually always poke and trade against each other. They'll feel each other out, and they'll either the American destroyers, for example, usually have better guns than the Japanese destroyers. The Japanese destroyers usually have quicker loading torpedoes. So it's down to basically the skills of the destroyer players, who comes out in that, who breaks first, who drops the smoke and runs, who's able to dodge through the torpedo spreads. Did they fire 1 bank of torpedoes? Did they fire 2 banks of torpedoes? It's always a risk, never necessarily knowing if that's what's happened.
It looks like we have a little bit of a issue with the game. I'm not sure exactly if we're in there or not, but it seems like
a little technicality, maybe.
Technicality. No one's really moving anymore, so I think we're going to have a quick restart on this 3rd round. I didn't really see anything much happening. The Admirals, it's pretty clear to me that the guys who stick together, they're all heading towards that left side, towards the Cap A, and that's what's really worked for them in the last couple of rounds. I mean, they've all stuck together. Maybe the DD is going to go into a different direction at some other point. I mean, the thing is, the DD is always going to be that lone wolf. Okay, you can have a little bit of a combination with the CV at some point, but you know, you need to have that play. And to be honest, it's been okay. And in that final round, it was on par with the times of damage and that the CV did, but it was pretty far up.
Yeah, I mean, it's generally difficult to finish matches in DDs, you know? Like, you can do a lot of good damage in a DD, but you're 9 times out of 10 going to overcommit and do damage, and then as you turn to run, you're going to get lit up and you're going to get shot. So it's very important as a DD player to A, definitely know your limits, and B, to kind of make sure you have an exit plan for whatever you're planning to do. I mean, a lot of them can turn on the sixpence and turn and burn and get the heck out of there, but you really want to make sure you have, for example, some hardcover, some islands or something that you can use. And there's also a lot of times you can drop smoke and then hit. If you're going full forward and you hit full reverse, you're going to drift forward a bit. But when you're sitting in that smoke, if it works, the enemy ships have absolutely no idea where you are. So they don't know if you've just sailed away from them. And if you're going past something where there's an island, you can just hide behind the island. And whilst it's generally peekaboo like you get in World of Tanks, where they really rock forward and rock back behind cover, it's a very dangerous thing to do. But if you're in something with a destroyer, when you fire your torpedoes, you're firing your torpedoes off ahead of somebody because you're leading them. So they don't have the guns to bear. So they're trying to come around an island to shoot at you, but they're not going to get a shot until their guns have a clear line of sight. So if you keep sneaking around an island and just firing off torpedoes in front of them, they're going to sail into your torpedoes if they want to shoot you. And it's a very sneaky tactic to basically bait people into chasing you, because if they're trying to come after you every time, they're going to have to run into your torpedoes first.
Yeah, and they've got to predict correctly when those torpedoes are going to come. I mean, if you're dodging around islands, you're not going to get a line of sight onto the torpedoes until it's a little bit too late. It's a very sneaky tactic. I mean, island camping.
I like doing it.
It's fun. The thing is, you've got to find that location, right? And, you know, you see it before, you see it in random battles, you see it in ranked. DD's gunning for a certain location on the map behind those islands and then just sitting there and just... I mean, at the very least, they're holding a very crucial location, stopping the other DD player from getting to that position.
But the thing is, well... Excuse me. The thing as well is with
so much water here. I'm surprised.
so much water. I know, I got all this water and I'm getting dry throats. I'm surprised that I'm not actually getting a bit salty dealing with any kind of bad comments, but that's okay. I'm sure Twitch chat's probably getting a bit salty right now with the delay, but they're desperate to see the finals. The torpedoes, when torpedoes are in the water, there is no friendly fire, and this game is not friendly, shall we say. So it's very, very easy to take out a teammate with torpedoes.
It's just it's a slow train wreck, basically.
So you can fire off torpedoes in a situation where you're completely safe, and what will happen is perhaps an enemy ship you're going for gets killed first, and your torpedoes sail past them. Or generally what happens a lot of the time, especially in things like random battles, is somebody is on what we call second line, so they're further back, and they shoot off torpedoes with teammates in front of them, which is very, very dangerous because they just assume that like if there's an enemy ship on the left-hand side of you, that they're going to shoot off torpedoes at him to deal with him. But what they're maybe not paying attention to is you maybe have somebody shooting at you from the right. So your automatic reaction is to turn left to avoid the guy shooting at you, and you turn left into your teammate's torpedoes.
And you also, when you're dealing with torpedoes in the first place, you're always thinking about where they're going to come from. So yeah, okay, you get that warning system, but you're not really expecting that you're going to get shot from a position which you're not covering, so you're not paying attention to it, and you just get wrecked by torpedoes.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than hearing that torpedo alert noise.
And you're like, where does it come from?
And then you look down, it's like, behind me. And then you just look at team chat and you see, sorry.
So no problem.
Yeah,
back to port.
Yeah, you just take the hit, and you're just like,
yeah, like this.
Second line torpedo is very, very dangerous. If you ever play World of Warships and you have teammates in front of you, do not shoot your torpedoes. Always only shoot your torpedoes if there's no teammates in front of you or to your sides.
Tip of the day from Commander Ryan Murphy.
Commander Ryan. Admiral Murphy.
Admiral Murphy. Fleet Admiral Murphy.
I would take Admiral. I should have I'm pushing really hard to get my face in the game as crew. Because the British Navy,
I think the closest you're close to have to be an admiral is just a bath of iron brew. It's about as far as you get with
a bath of it. Even I'll take that, to be honest.
With the little sail ship on that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But we are into the round. We had a little bit of a technicality and had to restart. Still 2-0 ahead for the Admirals. They are looking to close this match out in as devastating form as possible. And they've looked pretty consistent. I mean, they've not really had any much troubles. I mean, it's been two pretty one-sided rounds. You can see a little bit of early scouting at the start from the bombers, and obviously finds good information. There's a Tigers going forwards, and as we said, there's a big stack of them.
Yeah, so that's you've got fighter planes as well coming in. Fighter planes are great at shredding enemy planes down, basically. So in this one, when it's the two-tier fighters, the tiers are the same. It's usually 50-50 as to who will come out. There's not one. And previously the tier difference was really important, so generally the higher tier planes would always win once the planes fight. Now this is the AI just basically fighting it out amongst themselves, and it is actually a proper dogfight when all this happens. The planes coming in, everyone's shooting like crazy, and it's actually really impressive to watch. We used to have way back in Alpha, you could actually follow individual planes, which is really give you motion sickness really easily.
It's all the little World of Warplanes players just playing.
Yeah, right now, yeah. It would be really cool if you could tie all that in together. It would be so much work.
Don't say that.
To balance.
You're going to start a whole discussion on the forum.
To balance, that would be absolutely insane. So before anyone gets too excited, imagine balance. Imagine as just now when people complain about balance on any one of these games, imagine trying to put all three together. Yeah. So I was thinking about that.
Two big torpedoes hits there. And
Izolate is getting wrecked right now.
He's been the best player so far for the Admirals, by far.
So he was playing in destroyers earlier on, and right now in the Attico, he just got absolutely nuked by torpedoes coming in there. And now he's basically sailing in front of the battleship and the cruiser, so he's going to get focus fire. These guys are just going to focus on him, take him out of the battle. It's too much of a juicy target, basically. Yeah,
you can see they're trying to scramble together and get some of those HE shells towards the turrets, trying to set it on fire, but I feel it's too little too late.
So you can see here from Jingles, he's aiming across. You can see how far ahead he's actually having to aim. He's not. You notice the aiming reticle is not on the ship he wants to shoot at. He's having to aim way ahead of the ship, and that's because these shells have flight time. So you have to basically predict ahead of the ship where he's going, which direction he's facing, where you want the shots to land, because they arc down. It's not like it's not World of Tanks where you point directly at your target and the shells
I never
go there.
point directly at my targets. You got a little bit of a lead there. This is like the Yag Tiger where the shell speed is like teleports. But
But yeah, the Attico's backing up here, trying to. He's probably going to take one of these on the nose because he's going to turn into it. It's going to hit him straight on the beak, as we would say in Scotland. So that's going to give a bit of flood damage. He's going to finish. He's actually survived on it on 95.
Didn't even get any flooding damage, I guess, in that situation. And to be fair, the Admirals somehow managed to stabilize a little bit here. You got turrets set on fire. It's got to be careful. Trying to get that broadside to the cruiser and might connect a couple of shells. Didn't get any craters in that one. And that's a problem. I mean, BBs, you can't have a great round or you can just get annihilated.
Yeah, sometimes your shots will come in and they'll be an absolute, like, perfect spread and they'll go straight into Citadel. Other times they'll just straddle the target or you'll just be slightly out. What makes it worse as well is if somebody's turning, like you'll have a perfect line in front, you aim ahead of them, you know you're going to get a broadside, and if they just turn slightly, the shells will fall short and fall long. The only real practice you have for that is just to keep playing more, and then you start to get a read of the ships and understand how better to aim.
People just play predictably as well. I mean, the average player will not zigzag, they'll just go straight broadside when they have a reload.
So that's the other point is always saying about zigzag. So actually turning your ship left and right, you know, to try and dodge fire, dodge torpedoes is super important. If you sail in a straight line, you're usually dead meat doing that. So you want to make your direction hard to guess for enemy. It makes it harder for them to track shots on you. If you're just sailing in a straight line, they know they're just going to aim like a certain distance in front of you, and all the shots are going to land. Realistically,
only cruisers. I reckon cruisers are definitely the best. I mean, you just got to zigzag. When you're going against a BB, okay, maybe you don't have the firepower to match it, but you might be able to get in torpedo range. You've got torpedoes. You can zigzag. You don't have to have that broadside, which is the easy crits. And
big, massive Citadel hit coming in there.
Big hit, and there's also torps on the right.
So there's lots of these torpedoes are coming in for him. He's not really paying attention to the torpedo warnings. You can see the symbol on the left-hand side. 2 torpedoes coming at him. 3. Oh, he stopped himself to try and avoid it. Jingle, massive hit into Jingles. I think he probably said, "Oh dear," there, but perhaps not as polite as that.
No, definitely not. And you can see actually they're aiming towards the waterline to go for their citadels. You won't aim higher up because you're just going to be hitting the more soft over-penetration targets of just like the modules.
He's taken out there as well, so it looks like it's swinging round the other way really, really strongly right now for Ocean Pirates.
They're back in the game.
The dead Admirals are starting to die, basically.
See if Aerroon can actually take any of them. But it's not going to happen. It's going to be a match on the board for the Ocean Pirates, aka Team Germany.
Team Germany, yep.
They're obviously from Germany, so Team Germany makes sense. And it's going to bring up the scoreline 2-1 here. Nice little round there. I felt like at the beginning, you know, the Dead Admirals went one way, and then we had to restart. They went completely the other direction. We saw Izolate
got isolated.
Izolate went straight. Went straight forwards in that cruiser, in that Tago, and just got absolutely wrecked. You see Bloodshed Engine having an absolute beast around.
And Stranger survives once again. So 10 planes down from Commander there, so he was able to weather the storm from Strangers again weathering the storm. So both carrier players again going after each other. Blood Legend getting 2 kills for himself. So the Team Germany had 2 ships left there. 2-1. I don't necessarily know if that was but I didn't necessarily know if it was predictable. I mean, it could have gone either way with each team, so it was good to see them. Jingles and his fan base certainly will be super happy. I wonder if there's any talk in chat right now, nobody actually saying that they're happy to see Jingles. I don't really see his name mentioned much in chat right now, so I'm wondering if there is any Jingles fans in Twitch chat, if they would say hello or say Jingles, you know.
You stop baiting Twitch chat, man. It's going to end in tears.
I'm sorry, I'm just seeing if the moderators are awake right now, so we'll see.
It's always fun, but yeah, I mean, everyone got a little bit of a taste of World of Warships there. If you haven't played it, obviously go to worldofwarships.eu or .com.ru, depending where you are in the world. Yeah, I mean, ranked battles definitely something which I should check out. And you can see, I mean, you've unleashed the Kraken basically.
Sorry, mods. Sorry, just to be sure.
Look what you've done.
I wonder if we'll grab him on stage for a little chat, a little interview.
But, I mean, you could see that, in my opinion, the Admiral Society basically more drilled in. They've obviously put the hours in. They had a game plan. They went for it. Their strategies, their lineups were good. And overall, I felt like they were the better team.
Yep, definitely. It was a good trade-off for the two of them, and a good first showing of what can be done with World of Warships, and things like UIs and stuff come along, get a bit better, and certainly, hopefully, more people will get into want to do more competitive stuff and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so that was the World of Warships show match. 2-1 to the Dead Admiral Society versus Team Germany, the Ocean Pirates. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you so much. I am joined here by Dennis from the Ocean Pirates. New name. How are you liking the name, Dennis?
Yeah, the name, the godfather of team names.
To give you a little back insight there, we saw the t-shirt and we said we need to call you guys Ocean Pirates, hence being the Ocean Pirates. Dennis, you didn't win this one, but you did play fantastically. What was it like playing World of Warships in front of this crowd for this stage?
It was absolutely fantastic. So many fans here, and the complete atmosphere was absolutely wow. More can say.
Well, we loved having you. Now on this side, stranger. First off, I have to say, I love what you're wearing. I'm gonna try to get in here so I don't hit you or anything. Explain what you're wearing.
Okay, this one's gonna be funny. Anyone here know about the Japanese browser game Contact Collection? There's one. Yeah, I figured it's pretty much already decided I was going to be the aircraft carrier, so I thought, well, if I'm going to play the aircraft carrier, I might as well dress up as the aircraft carrier. So, here we are.
Well, we hope you start a trend. So, guys, if you're watching out there, this is going to be the new thing. Dress up as the ship you're playing in World of Warships. You guys did win in this show match. You did put on a performance. What do you attribute that to? How was your team performing?
It's really difficult to say because World of Warships, compared to, for example, the World of Tanks games that you're going to be watching right now, it's a lot slower of a game. You know, a battleship takes 30 seconds to reload the guns. Well, in World of Tanks, in 30 seconds, 5 batch shots would have unloaded the drums halfway through and 6 tanks dead. So it's a really different game, and it's a lot of a strategic game, in my opinion. So I think a lot of it is picking the correct positions and picking the right targets and focusing it down, rather than perhaps, say, individual skill. And I think that as an esports game opens it up to a lot more, to a lot wider of an audience and for players to join in, to also still be competitive. Now, in this game, it's, for me, difficult to say, but I think our team just made perhaps a few of the better decisions and got away with them.
Better decisions wins games. That's the way it is. And I'll tell you this right now, guys. When you guys were shooting torpedoes at each other, I was getting excited for the simple fact of watching them cruise through the water and sitting there. That's kind of an exciting moment. So well done to both of you. I can say that you guys were winning right over here. This fantastic chair that you have, the good guys from Wargaming are giving all of you some of those. So how do you feel about that?
Oh, that feels amazing. Feels great.
Feels great, feels amazing. Words we don't need. Guys, listen, thank you so much. One more time, a big round of applause for your World of Warships challengers today. Come on, guys. I know you can do better than that. Come on, a big round of applause. And this is why you're awesome. Thank you so much. Now, of course, we do still have the grand final coming up. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. The grand final is coming up. It's Hellraisers versus Na'vi. This is going to be epic.